Hey, my guest today is Brad Boyle, the CEO, co-founder of JIFU. How are you today, Brad?
I'm great. Thank you, Pete. How are you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. Glad to talk to you again.
Good. Me too. I'm excited to talk to you again.
It's uh, let my listeners get an idea what JIFU is, but I can tell you, I now personally know that it works.
That's right. You use
That's
it
my,
going to Hawaii at least.
that's my for work. I got to make sure
Uh-huh.
people know I have to go to Hawaii for work. It's not all party.
It's a rough life.
Well, yeah. So go ahead and tell me about what JIFU does and how you came about
Sure.
it.
So GFU, really simply put, is we don't make any money on the travel itself. So what happens is when you go to one of the big online travel agencies, and I don't need to mention them by names, you know who they are. They all take from the same databases, and even if they create their own database, they're also they have to provide that to everybody else. So we're pulling from the same database as the big OTAs, and when we do that, we don't make any money on the travel itself. So what we do is we charge a monthly fee. As a just a regular member, you pay $25 a month, and then we don't make a dime from your travel itself. So it's a very simple process. It's kind of like being subscribed to Netflix or Microsoft now or Adobe if you're a developer, whatever. You just pay the $25 a month. You can travel as much as you want, and we don't make any money on the travel at all.
And that $25 you can get out whenever you want and get back in.
Anytime you want.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So in fact, I was helping somebody today. They were asking me about Las Vegas, soccer mom or something. And I just looked at it. She hadn't booked her travel, and we were looking at Las Vegas rooms. So it's very simple. It's easy. You can do
Yeah.
it same day. You can do it 6 months from now. It doesn't matter. You can book it whenever you want to.
Well, I'll give you, and I think I shared it with you, but I'm not sure. So we're in Hawaii for
Mm-hmm.
work.
Yep.
I wanted to spend an extra night on the Big Island because I had to go up and see an account that was going to open up.
Yeah.
So I go to the desk and I say, hey, I just need to add one more night. And they're like, yeah, okay. It was extremely expensive.
Yeah.
Extremely expensive. I'm like, that can't be right. So I go, well, I'm going to see if I can just maybe book it online, or because I was thinking, well, I'll move for that. I mean, it was ridiculous.
Yeah.
So I go to JIFU, log in, and it gave me actually a lower rate than than what I had originally
Yeah.
booked for the night before.
Yep.
And so I logged in, booked the room.
Standing in front of the desk.
I no, so I go down. I said, "Do you have
I've
my
done it standing in front of the desk before, so that's why I ask you.
do I need do I So I need to show them my reservation. So I gave my confirmation number I just got from you,
Yeah,
or from your company, and I was like, and they're like, okay, you're good for another night. And I was like, it was like $400.
yeah, it makes no sense to me,
Yeah.
no sense at all. I had a friend in from out of town, and this is actually before we started GFU, and we got I think we got the pricing on I want to say it was Priceline possibly. And so we asked him, hey, can you just do another room at that same price? And they said we can't. And so we walked away and we booked it on Priceline. And I sat there and thought to myself,
That's
if
a,
somebody's right at your desk, why wouldn't you just give them a smoking good deal?
yeah.
Right? You don't have to pay fees. You don't have, I mean, nothing. You
They're
just
an
go
existing
in and
customer. Yeah.
exactly. They're just sitting right there. And so, yeah, I agree with you. And so, I mean, that makes me so happy to hear, Peter, that you save $400. I mean, that's what motivates us,
Yeah.
right? Is when we hear people saving so much money. It really does. It just makes us so happy to see that people save and they can go and do those things. I mean, right now where gas is so expensive, where groceries are expensive, everything is so expensive right now. If there's a place where people can cut in and save some money, man, that makes us so happy to hear, because all you hear right now is how prices are going up
Yeah.
everywhere.
Well, and I think
So that makes me super happy.
I don't. I would assume people are using more. I mean, people want to travel because
They do.
for 2 years we were all shut down,
Yep.
and like I know going to visit my daughter in Knoxville, the plane ticket was like $1,000.
It's so expensive.
I'm like, what? I'm getting deals to go to Paris for $480,
Yeah.
but go to Knoxville, Tennessee is over 1,000.
Yeah, it's almost as though they're trying to make up for 2 years.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that I can realistically look at. I just got back from Japan, and I think we talked about this last time,
Yeah.
Peter, is you got to get to Japan. Everybody needs to go to Japan at some point in their life.
Honestly.
It's the most amazing, well designed, I mean, everybody's so nice. In fact, I saw a guy walking down the street and he had an orange jacket on, reflective jacket, and he was picking up gum wrappers with these really big tongs, right? Picking up gum wrappers out of the gutter. And he had a whole bag full of little teeny tiny pieces of garbage, right? And man, if we could just get to that point here, right? I mean, along freeways, and
I was
there's
going
no
to say we would
graffiti
need
anywhere. I mean,
really
it's
big
just so
tongs here in
amazing.
California.
Yep,
Really big tongs.
really big tongs.
Yeah.
Yes, I can attest to that, absolutely. But what was so cool is that they're still on kind of a lockdown a little
Yeah.
bit.
I was going to ask you because you went over for business then, right?
I went over for business. Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
we met with
that's what
about
they're
300 or
allowing.
400 of our affiliates over there. Is what we
Yeah.
did.
Yeah. That's what they're
And
allowing. They're not allowing tourists just yet, I think.
not yet. So,
August.
and that's kind of a crazy story in and of itself. I've been traveling back and forth to Japan. I speak fluent Japanese, and I've been going back and forth to Japan the last, gosh, 25, 26 years, right? I've never needed a visa except for when I lived there.
Yeah.
And we didn't find out that we needed a visa until July 4th. We were leaving on July 7th. And the visa process is supposed to take at least 10 to 15 days. And we worked with the consulate, and we finally got over there on the 10th. But what was so fascinating is even over there where they're coming out of lockdown, let's put it that way, the hotels are full. People are traveling, right? People are moving around again because people just want to live again.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. And I get it. Some people don't want to. Some people want to stay in their homes and things like that. I totally respect that. We've just chosen not to. Meaning my family.
Yeah.
We're moving around. We have moved around. We've gotten COVID. But we're here. We're okay. But I want my kids to see the world. I want my kids to see life, and that's what it's about. So
Yeah, we're the reason I know Japan's still locked down is because we keep looking. Because we want to
tell me when you're
go.
ready to go. We'll make it fun.
I'm like, well, maybe I could say I'm selling cowboy boots over there. If I
Absolutely.
could do a work visa or something.
Yeah,
That's
we'll
what
talk
they're
later. We'll figure out a way to get you a visa. We have a company over there that's how we were able to do it. Is we were able to make our own. We were able to invite ourselves essentially.
Yeah.
So that's how we did it. So
You know,
there's ways to do it. Planes were full, totally full.
I know when we went to Hawaii, the plane was completely full going there. The inner island stuff, because I had to, because I have accounts on multiple islands. The inner island stuff was really light. I
Yeah.
mean, like they made us spread out on one flight. Yeah, going to
Interesting.
Kauai. Like they're like, we need some people from 17 row back.
Yeah.
It was empty. So,
It's
but then
amazing.
coming home, it was full too, and there was a lot of people there.
That's the thing. I mean, the airlines are balancing it pretty well, and I've been in the last 3 weeks. I've been to Dubai.
Yeah.
I've been to Japan, and in a month from now, I'm heading to Barcelona, and Paris. And I've seen the whole way. There is some mess out there.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of that is based on the fact that we shut down for 2 years, right? And there's not as many pilots, there's not as many baggage handlers, there's
Yeah.
not as many ticketing agents, things like that. So if people are just patient, I had a 3-hour delayed flight from Dubai to Amsterdam, and I was doing a connecting flight to London, which had my direct flight back here to Salt Lake, and it was a mess. I mean, Amsterdam is one of the most beautiful, well-ran airports I've ever flown through, and right now they just don't have enough people to keep up.
Right.
And so it was a little touch and go. I missed 2 flights to London, right? They had to rebook me. They're on a shift change. And so if you're just patient, I mean, these people aren't doing this to
Yeah.
cause problems, right? But I've had no problems at hotels. I've had no problems, restaurants. It's just, right now the airlines are a little touch and go. And I think we just need to all give them a little bit of a break. It's a massive system. So like you said, I mean, Hawaii was full, and then they'll get there, right? I think Hawaii is a little bit like Japan. It's an island country, and they just want to be careful. And I guess I should say island state. But yeah,
Right.
it's going to come back. It's going to come back.
Have you seen hotel prices going down yet? Or I mean, they've been ridiculously high too.
Very, very high. Yeah, I mean, we've seen it go up. The thing that's the saving grace is if you go outside the country, the dollar's super strong, right? Which has its own issues, right? I mean, it's good for us Americans when we go abroad. It's bad for people to come here, right? That's
Yeah.
the hard part. But man, we were getting such good deals in Japan everywhere we went. I stayed at the Hyatt Regency in Fukuoka through JIFU, and we paid with tax like $100. I mean, it was so cheap.
Yeah.
5-star. It was so beautiful. It's one of the most beautiful hotels I've stayed in Japan. And then I stayed at another hotel in Tokyo called the Mensa. I'd never stayed at before, but it was a Marriott Autograph Collection.
Okay.
And oh my gosh, it was right on the bay. My balcony had a view over, and it was unbelievable. We paid $130 for that.
Yeah.
It's typically $400. So you can get great deals. I'd love to stay at the Shinagawa Prince hotels in Tokyo. It's right next to a major train station, right there in Tokyo.
Yeah.
And we were paying 104, including tax. I mean, these are 5-star hotels, and just it's amazing how much the big OTAs are making right now, right? And I get it; they're trying to make up for it.
Yeah, because people been traveling for 2 years.
Absolutely, but it's kind of like you, Peter. Is once you've actually used the JIFU system, you go, oh, I get it, right? Now I understand how it works, and that's our biggest issue.
I didn't know it was that.
People have a hard time believing it.
I really didn't. I didn't know it was that much.
It's a lot.
I mean, it's a lot. It can be.
It's a lot.
Now, the one thing I found with the JIFU system, it wasn't all hotels. In some hotels, some were almost the same.
Yeah.
But some were, I mean,
incredible.
So yeah.
We'll see sometimes some hotels, they're fairly full, so they don't drop their what we would call it the wholesale rate. That's not really the fair way of saying it, but they'll drop the wholesale rate just a tiny bit, but not very much. It's kind of like what you ran into. You're standing in front of them saying, "Hey, give me one more room." Well, they'd rather get as much as they can, if possible, right? So it's not every hotel every time all the time, right? It
right.
depends
Just like anything.
Depends on their vacancy. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's I guess that's part of the challenge, is knowing when to look it up and and how much time, and because if you book too soon, they don't know how booked they are, so they might not discount.
No, they won't. In fact, we were talking today with one of my affiliates in Japan, and she was looking at going to Santorini, Greece.
Yeah.
And
my daughter just went there.
Oh, did she like it?
She loved it. They loved it. They went there for a week.
I have never been to Greece.
I haven't either. No.
I would love to go there. But anyways, we have a couple of promotions where when people sign up and become an affiliate, pay their yearly fee in advance, we give them a discount for doing so. But then we also send them on vacations, right?
Yeah.
And one of the places was Santorini, and Santorini, the hotel's all blocked out December through March, right? Where our affiliates couldn't use their free vacation.
Right.
Now with that happening, what is going to happen is as we get closer and closer, the hotels are going to realize, hey, we're not booked. And so they'll start to open up those free rooms to our affiliates again. So that's kind of the game you got to play a little bit, especially on the free stuff. But the stuff that you're paying for, going to Vegas, New York City, Boston, like you said, Hawaii, you had I love hearing great experiences in Hawaii. Man, Mexico is unbelievable right now. Europe is good because our dollar goes so much further in Europe. Same thing with Japan.
Yeah, we used JIFU on Oahu, the Big Island, and Kauai for all three places.
Man, I love to hear that you got it on Kauai because they have so few hotels.
Well, and we saved we ended up that was kind of going to be our special stay, because I have one account that does pretty well with me, but I mean, we're going to stay an extra couple of days, and we stay at the Royal Sonesta, which is, it used to be, I think, the Marriott.
Okay.
It was renamed Royal Sonesta Bottom, and it's the nicest, most expensive place on the island. But using JIFU, we were like, hey, let's go ahead and do that, because there aren't a lot of hotels.
There's not. There's not. We stayed at the old St. Regis. I can't remember what it's called now, but
closed
it's over
right now.
Is it closed right now?
Right now, it's closed. Yeah.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
It's being remodeled.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah.
But they moved
going to
away
stay there
from
too.
St. Regis. They moved it. It's no longer a St. Regis, from what I understand.
Correct.
But we loved it. We loved it. And by the way, could you let everybody know that I'm not paying you to say this? This might be good. Because
At
you're
all?
hitting all the right notes, right? I mean,
No, not at all. That's why I was so happy to have you back on the show. Because it's one thing to hear about, oh, you could save money, you could do this and this and
yeah,
that. And then to actually use the system, I was like, okay.
yeah, and that's what we love to hear because as people are traveling again, right? I mean, like I said, I mean, soccer moms. It was so funny.
Yeah.
We came back from the minor league baseball game here, the AAA team last night. We had to fill up with gas, and I haven't filled up on gas, because I've been gone for 3 or 4 weeks. I have not filled up for probably 6 weeks, meaning me personally. My kids have, my son has, my wife has.
You're incredibly lucky.
Holy cow! I mean, and I know you live in California, so it's hard for me to complain, but it cost almost $90 to fill up our minivan. And I just sat there and thought, wait, what? And so anywhere somebody can save money, they should. And so again, people, when they come to our website and they say, man, I don't know, I've never heard of JIFU before. Who is this?
Yeah.
It's got kind of a funny name. And the reason for the funny name is in any language, it's pronounced the same. Just like mango, JIFU is the same, whether you're in Chinese or you're in Europe, it doesn't matter, right?
There you go.
And so that's the biggest thing, is getting people over the hurdle to believe that what we're offering them actually works. So that's where having somebody like you use it, man,
Yeah.
I hope you keep using it. And yeah, I mean, it's just it means the world to us to hear that people are being successful with it.
Well, it's interesting because, like I said, it's not perfect. It's not like,
No.
if I wanted to stay at one hotel, the savings was $2.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, okay, well, maybe yeah or nay, but I'll tell you something, saving $2 a night is $2 a night,
$2 a night. That's right.
but when we saved that money, we literally went and, on the Big Island, you can float with the manta rays.
Yes.
And we did that because we saved the money on the hotel room.
Now, Peter, here's the question. Did you use our activities portal to book
No,
that?
no,
Oh, then we need to show you that too.
because I forget what hotel we were at. The hotel we stayed at was where the manta rays start.
Okay.
So we didn't know this. So we're walking around the hotel at night and we see all these blue lights out on the water.
Oh, I know where you were.
And I'm like, oh, what's going on? So we walk over there and one of the ladies working there goes, oh, they're looking at manta rays.
Yeah.
I go, what are you talking about? And she goes, well, there used to be a swimming pool right there, and the lights from the swimming pool used to light up part of the ocean.
I know right where you're at.
So we were staying in that hotel.
Oh, that's such a beautiful hotel.
So we go to the concierge in the morning after saving the money, and we go, hey, can we do the manta rays tonight? And they're like, yeah. And so I didn't think about portals or anything because I'm like, it was literally just like, at night we see it, we save the money. I go, let's do it, So, and it was like, I want to say it was $150 a person. It wasn't crazy. I mean, it was to swim with a 16-foot manta ray.
Those things are amazing. And I know right what you're talking about. You go through the restaurant down to the viewing bay, right? And the big purple lights are coming up from behind you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is such a beautiful hotel. And it's right there. It's right there on that
on the
point.
bay. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. That's incredible. Well, that makes me happy. But just in future reference, there is an activities portal too. And it's funny. My COO Doug Allen was actually down in Cancun staying at the Vedanta, right? And we talked about that last time. People who pay for their yearly membership, we send them down to a 5-star resort for 6 nights, right? And he went down there and stayed, and then he booked all of his activities through our portal.
Okay.
And then he would get on the trip with everybody, because all they do is it's just like an airplane, right? You can book from concierge, you can book from these different places. He'd get on, and he'd always ask people, how much money did you spend on this? And they'd tell him, he'd be like, and then he'd tell them what he does, and people are like, well, I don't know, I'm not sure. That's the hardest thing, is people really do have a hard time believing that it's going to work, that it's gonna make that big of a difference. So it's fun. It's cool to see when people, and it's fun to talk to you that you saved, man, $400 a night. That's killer. That is unbelievable.
Brad, I tell you, I was literally like, well, because I wanted to stay there again. So I'm like, well, I was this close to not even buying. I'm going to check when I get back, when I get up to the room. Because if not, I'll just come back down and then pay for the room.
Yeah.
Crazy.
$400, $400.
Yeah.
And the hard thing about that, Peter, is the hotel wouldn't have got that money.
Oh, I know.
That's the hard thing for me.
I was trying to book it directly with them though at their desk.
Yeah.
So who would have gotten that money?
Well, if you would have booked it directly at the desk, they would have.
Yeah.
Absolutely. What I mean is, if you were to book it on Expedia or Priceline or any of the
Oh
other
no,
big
I'll tell you,
they would have saved it. They would
all the other places that we stayed at, it was, yeah, I made a mixture of, I wanted certain location. I mean, the biggest savings hotels weren't necessarily where we wanted to stay, so we just took a good mix of, hey, we saved some good money, but we wanted to stay here because of whatever reason.
If you had to guess your entire trip, how much do you think you saved?
Over $800. Nah, because the one in Oahu, it wasn't a big savings because we wanted to stay in Waikiki and they were booked. They were full, and I will never stay there again. As much as I like DJs playing in the lobby, no. Kauai, we saved a huge money at the Royal Nest. That was probably probably $1,200-$1,300 total.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, that's amazing.
And
that realistically pays for 3 years of membership.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to look at it that way, those are the stories we'd love to hear. And we can see when people are saving money. We don't post about it. We don't talk about it much. We probably should. But man, I mean, just hearing it.
I didn't mean to interrupt you. I'm sorry, but do you think people would be like, BS, that didn't really happen?
Oh, people do. People will say to us all the time, I don't know. That's why we give that free trial, right?
Yeah.
Then they can save half as much as a full member. But again, it's seeing is believing, and seeing you do as well as you did on that trip. I mean, that's amazing. Absolutely amazing.
And I don't have it on the phone. Do you have a phone app?
No, it's all web-based. It's all just a browser. But yeah, it works. That's why I book most of mine on, is just go to the website, book it, and go. So
as far as, do you see a difference between business travelers and vacation traveling?
So businesses are really interesting right now. Everybody's nervous, right?
Yeah.
So where people used to book, let me give you an example. So I fly on Delta enough, I'm a diamond medallion. I'm about to hit 2 million miles. Right. And I didn't book or pay for first class going over to Japan or returning home. I just bought a main class seat, cause I figure 9 hours is not worth $10,000. Right. No offense to the airlines. I love them to death. But I get these global upgrades, and I just put my name in for it.
Yeah.
And then you can watch on the site. I would say probably the plane was full and only 30% of first class was full.
Right.
And then I saw people getting upgraded. I could see it. That wasn't the case, pre-COVID. It was really hard to use the global upgrade certificates. It was really hard to, find flights that it worked on. But going to Dubai and back, I had most of it in first class, and going to and from Japan, I had first class both ways using those upgrades. And I think a lot of that is because businesses are saying, gosh, I'm not sure a full first class ticket is worth it. Now, that doesn't mean that all businesses have stopped doing that. I just see less of it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think the same thing on hotels. They're saying, hey, you don't need the suite, you don't need the big rooms, and the good side to that is it makes a good time to travel, and just go ask the front desk, hey, first time staying here, excited to be here, do you have any upgrades? And they usually find some way to make your stay a little bit better.
Yeah. And I don't know. I'm trying to think the best way to say this. I don't like asking for the deals, but I sit there and go, when I do and I get it, I'm like, okay, I didn't cost him anything. I didn't force him to give me.
I'm the same way.
Yeah.
My wife is so good at returning things. I'm awful.
Yeah.
Right.
So we went to Enterprise, rent a car for all 3 stops. And, but in Kauai, the guy was super, super cool. And he's like, hey, you're here for a couple of days. Yeah. I'm here for work. I'm going to go visit, XYZ, the stables down there. Oh, okay. Gave me a really nice car.
So are you going to book at Enterprise next time?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, right. I mean, that's the deal. So I will never fly anything but Delta because they always take care of me.
Yeah.
Right. Um, I coming back from Tokyo, we missed 2 flights from Seattle. There was just a plane change in Tokyo, right? Which I totally understand. So we had an extra 5 hours in Tokyo. We went, messed around,
Yeah.
shopped, met with some of our affiliates and things like that. It was wonderful. And we got back, and on our flight schedule got a little delayed. And so I put my luggage in when I came and checked back in, and they took my suitcase, but my golf bags hadn't gone yet. So they were able to re-tag that because they found an earlier flight for me and the two
Oh,
guys
nice.
that I was with. And I knew that my other bag wasn't gonna make it, right?
Yeah.
But here's the deal: you treat people nicely, they find ways to make sure you get what you need, right? And I've just found that, and so it's just like, even though I'm a diamond medallion and everything else, I find that most people in jobs at Delta, at Marriott, at Hilton, at United, it doesn't matter. They've gotten into that work because they enjoy helping people, right? And
Yeah.
so I think that if you're nice to them and you ask for those different things, man, they'll do everything they can to make sure you're taken care of. And
The thing I've noticed is just a lot of new people.
absolutely.
So they might not necessarily have that service orientated gene built into them yet.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I had one guy like that in Dubai at the hotel I stayed at. I stayed at the same hotel for 10 days.
See?
Everybody was like amazing. It was the JW, 72 floors. It was so
Wow.
unbelievably beautiful. But everybody was so amazing, right? And they knew I was staying a little bit longer, so they upgraded me to the executive floor, which got me access to the lounge. So I didn't pay for breakfast or dinner anytime I was at the hotel.
No.
I just find that most people look for ways to help you out for the most part,
Agreed.
right? And it's amazing, when and I think that as the world opens up again and we get less and less fearful, I think that we're going to see more and more happiness, right? And usually I find that when you're helping people, you find, it makes you happy.
So,
So
and it's the adage of bees attract honey, or honey, whatever.
yes,
Because
absolutely.
every place we went to, we went in with a good attitude. We weren't, man, the flight was late. This was like, And so if you come in with a pretty good attitude, people treat you pretty good.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Attitude is the difference, right?
it seems like, especially with business travelers,
Yeah.
I mean, I've had moments where I'm like, I'm late. The plane was late. I got delayed out of Denver going to Dallas by 4 hours, and no other airline was late, and they were telling me it's weather, and I'm like, well, the rest of the weather for all the airlines is fine. Is it just the weather in your airlines? So I get into Dallas, I think at 1 in the morning.
Oh my
Well,
gosh.
the rental cars had closed down. Oh, it was Houston. And so I had to get I had to Uber to my hotel, and then Uber back to the airport because I already paid for my car rental. So it was, at 7 in the morning, it's like 4 hours of sleep. But we've all had those moments.
Well, you bring up Dallas. One time we went down for the World Series a couple of years ago when it was kind of closed down. Where even though I don't live in LA, our family tends to be LA Dodger fans, right?
There you go.
And we went down and they offered us an upgrade. We took the upgrade and they put us in a Jaguar SUV. And it wasn't until we pulled out. We had an affiliate from Japan and an affiliate from Mexico in town. And it wasn't until we pulled out that we realized they didn't vacuum the back seat, and somebody must have had a very shaggy dog.
Ooh.
Right. And we turned back around, told them, they jumped through hoops, because again, this was in the lockdown of COVID. They probably didn't have enough people to vacuum. They were so apologetic, put us into an even bigger upgrade. And it worked out okay, and so, like you said, it's going to happen, right? There's things that are going to happen. You just got to make the best of it. Right.
Have you seen, I'm curious, out of the JIFU users, what is the percentage of people use it for business or for vacations?
I would say the majority, I'd say 90% is for vacation.
Okay.
And it's probably partially our fault because businesses don't realize how much they could be saving There's a really prominent guy here in Utah that when we showed it to him, he uses hotels.com because he gets that 10th room for free, right?
Yeah.
That's their thing. But all you have to do is save more than 10% on each of your rooms, and you're well on your way, right?
Yeah.
And once we showed that to him, he was like, "Wait a second, why am I having all these people book through hotels.com?" He goes, "Yeah, great, that extra room, that extra 10th room is nice, but man, if they're saving 30%,
Yeah.
40%,
It's only three
and
nights.
it's only 3 nights,
Yeah.
right?" So plus all, the other thing is that people get reward points. So if they're, booking on Delta and they're booking on using their Delta American Express and they pay for their Delta American Express, there's ways to stack points, right?
Yeah.
Those
Yeah.
loyalty points become
I
available.
did. Yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause I used the same card, my Southwest card that I use for everything.
Yeah.
So I still got the points. So
Yeah. Still get the points, still get everything else. So yeah, there's great hacks, right? There's great ways to really hack in and utilize the system. And again, you asked, is it's mostly leisure, right? Mostly
yeah.
families. So yeah, we need to do a better job of that, because if there's business owners out there listening to this, man, there's a couple of accounts I know of because we work with them, we concierge them. They need some help with different things. We've got a team in Boise that just jumps in and helps out with whatever people need. And
And they're very good.
yeah. Oh, did they help you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, good. That's great.
Just so you know.
That's awesome. Man, please tell everybody I'm not paying you, because
it, yeah, I had that one issue, and they were, I think it was on a Saturday or Sunday.
yeah, I think Travis jumped in and helped you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
it's pretty awesome.
it is awesome. We love to hear that. Absolutely love it.
But I was going to say, because I know for like the company I work for, we don't travel as much. Like we used to go to Denver 4 times a year for a sales
Yeah.
meeting, and that went to zero. Because now even though we could, they went, hey, we made the savings of not having 16 people flying
Yeah.
to Denver for 3 nights or 2 nights.
True.
So, so I know companies are looking to save money that way. I mean, especially if you get to a company that travels quite a bit,
Yeah.
it could be a huge savings.
Huge savings. And again, it's the same room. It's the same, using our portal. But to your point, I mean, businesses are finding ways to get creative, right?
Yeah.
Zoom, GoToMeeting, things like that have made things so easy. It's just, I can talk to somebody in Turkey. I can talk to somebody in, I mean, today alone at JIFU, we had, that I know of, we had somebody from Germany, somebody from Costa Rica, somebody from Japan. We had somebody from Spain, on this morning. Bangladesh and India were on with
Yeah.
Jim this morning, right? And so, yeah, it makes it so easy. Somebody doesn't have to say, "Hey, come see me." It's like, "Hey, this is easy. Let's just get on Zoom. Let's walk through things." And so, yeah, there's massive savings that can be allocated someplace else, right?
Yeah.
So,
But it's now I think businesses are now going back to travel. I mean, I'm
mhm.
seeing the local flights. When I say local, I mean Dallas, Vegas,
Yeah,
Oakland. The planes are getting full.
absolutely.
So there's got to be a way to. Yeah, we talked about this last time. It's all about letting. How do we get people to know that JIFU is out there? How do
Yeah, yeah.
let
And
them
just for
know?
everybody's reference, it's JIFU.com, right? But to your point, it was really interesting. I probably our biggest market in terms of affiliates is in Japan. And we hadn't been over there for 2.5 years, right? That's the crazy part. And it was just, human beings need interaction, right?
Yeah.
I don't believe people cut big business deals over Zoom. I think people need to shake hands, they need to break bread, get to know each other. Because it just changes what you're feeling about them and the company that they're representing, right?
Yeah.
And so I agree with you. People have got to get back to it. It is easy to jump on a Zoom. It is cheaper, but at the end of the day, people make deals because they're able to see each other in the
Well,
eyes.
and I couldn't imagine. I'm trying to think like that's why I went to Hawaii. I mean, I hadn't been there in 2 years because the islands were
Yeah,
closed down. But I think they opened up in March, and we went
yeah,
in April. I mean, I was there the next month just to go say hi to these people for the first time in 2 years. Even though
yeah,
I've seen them, we've done deals and emails and this and that. It's different.
yeah. Front of mind, right? I mean, it's important, and you probably sold a few more cowboy boots, and
Yep.
And in fact, I thought about you because they were giving away. We went up to the Ogden Rodeo the night I got back from Japan. Ogden's a town just north of Salt Lake, right?
Yeah.
They have a massive rodeo. It's so much fun. The kids, they hadn't been to a rodeo since they could remember, especially my two little girls. They
Nice.
don't remember. My older boys remembered a little bit. But they're giving away they're giving away a package to the Las Vegas rodeo. If you
Yeah.
remember, you and I talked about this last time you checked into MGM. You and I stayed at the MGM at the same time.
Yeah.
I think is what we talked about, right?
Yep.
And they were giving away a package. They were auctioning it off, and the money went to the Boys and Girls Home, Boys and Girls Club, excuse me. So it was really cool what they were doing. But I thought about you that night when they talked about the PCR rodeo, because I thought, oh yeah, when Peter and I talked, we figured out we'd both been in MGM, and I think we took notes. I think you guys paid like 220 for that night, and we paid 110 or something like that.
Yeah.
I can't remember exactly what the numbers were, but it made me think back to the fact that people want to get out, see rodeos. They want to go to, football games, baseball games. I think over the next year, we're going to see some good stuff happening again. So,
well, I totally agree because, the rodeo crowds are getting bigger.
yep.
All the concerts, all the musicians I've talked to on my show, they're out touring again. They're touring as much as they can, trying to make, to get some money because
Absolutely.
if they're not touring, they're not making money.
Well, and to that point, if you don't mind me giving you one more Japan story.
Yeah, please.
So in Japan, Uber was illegal for a while because they were protecting the taxi cab companies. So it's always been actually fairly prominent job. I don't know if prominent, it's a prestigious job to be a taxi cab driver. They wear white gloves. The seats are they're beautiful and manicured, right? And they were worried that the transportation is such a big deal in Japan, right? Bullet trains are always on time. Trains are always on time. But anyway, so we were talking to this Uber driver, and I asked him, I said, why was Uber illegal? And he said, well, because there were car wrecks and nobody had their insurance and there are all these different issues, right? And so I asked him, I said, so how long have you been a taxi cab driver? He said 25 years. And I said, well, how has it been? And he goes, Brad, he didn't say my name, but he goes, Brad, the word he used was kanashi, which is just, it's a struggle. It's a killer. It's everything else. Right. And I asked him, well, if you don't mind me asking, how much money were you making pre-COVID? And he said, I was making between $6,000 and $8,000 roughly, just on, based on the exchange rate per month.
Yeah.
Today he says he's fortunate to get between $1,000 and $2,000 a month.
Wow.
Right. So you want to talk about the massive effect that our shutdowns have had, right? And I don't want to get into the politics or anything else like that, but my heart went out to this guy because, and I asked him, I said, so how do you survive in Tokyo? Tokyo is one of the most expensive cities in the world.
Like New York City, yeah.
It's like New York City, yeah, and it's massive. It goes on forever. And he said, we just hope that the foreigners start coming back again. Because when the foreigners are here, that means hotels are being used, Ubers are being used, taxis are being used, planes are in fact, at Haneda Airport, which is the closest airport to downtown Tokyo, there were still probably 10 or 12 airplanes just parking. These are big 737s, massive airplanes just parked still. And that's because they still haven't opened up, people coming back. But, you talked about the musicians, you talk about, these different professions that have just been required to go places, and this limitation, we just got to get people back out there and experiencing life again. And I believe it's going to fix a lot of the issues.
Yeah, Hawaii was a lot of the. I have 2 stores closed down. They didn't make it, because they were all tourist based. Because most of their tourists came from Japan.
Yeah, there you go.
And some South Koreans, but they said that the Japan tourism bus used to stop by their store every morning, like at 9 a.m. And obviously for 2 years, that bus didn't show up.
Well, and the hard thing about me hearing that, Peter, is that's somebody's livlivelihood, right? That's somebody's dream. Yeah. That's possibly a second generation, probably a third generation store, right? I mean, we're not the effect that it's had, and that's why, we just got to get out again, right? And that's where, if again, it makes you so happy to hear how much money you saved, because that means you'll go do it again, right?
Well, and I saved that money, but like probably most people, I spent it on manta rays, which helped the local business,
That's
right? No, absolutely. But it helped the people that run the manta ray, because I wouldn't have gone. Right. So instead of that hotel making the money, which all goes back into the business, but I helped a local business with that money.
Absolutely. Which means that one more tour guide had a
Yep.
job that day.
Yep.
Yeah, it's in business school, the number one thing I learned was the speed of money matters, right? Faster we can get it going and moving around, the better off we're going to be. And so let's spread that far and wide, right?
Do you think that now I'm curious because it's been a few months. Do you think the potential of whatever recession we go through, whatever the new definition is,
Mhm.
uh, do you think that helps your business or does it hurt it
No, I think
with the inflation and everything else? Because things do
yeah, I
cost more.
think to me, people feel more comfortable when they feel comfortable about what's going on around them, right?
Yeah,
I've seen most people aren't paying attention to the news as much anymore. That's my overall feeling.
good.
Which yeah, I feel that way too. I think that people are looking at their own bank account. They're saying, okay, I've got a job. When you read, the tech is laying off thousands of people, which I'm sure it is, but then there's other places where it's going to go through. I listened to a hedge fund manager at an event probably about a month and a half ago, and one of the things that he said that was really interesting is he said that he believes that the recessions, if a recession comes, it's going to be very short lived because people can do things like Uber,
Yeah,
right? People can do things like DoorDash, right? They don't have to be sitting around looking at want ads hoping to get a job anymore. If you have fortitude and you got a gumption to go do something, you can go do it.
yeah.
We say this to people all the time. You know, go and spread JIFU. We'll pay you to go tell people about it. We'll pay you every month that they pay their monthly membership. We'll give you a certain piece of that, right? And so it's not like before when people had to look at want ads and classifieds and things
At
like that,
all.
right? And so do I think it helps us? I think it helps us from one perspective in that people are looking for ways to save. And number two, this is a very easy way for people to be able to it's a gig, right? It's another
Yeah.
gig that people can tell other people about. So
It, I don't even know if they do this. If they have the help wanted sections of newspapers,
I don't know if they do anymore.
I haven't looked in decades.
I haven't. What's funny is those you follow me on Instagram. I don't know if you
Yeah,
saw my daughter when she was trying to guess the gibberish,
yeah.
and it comes across and it was yellow pages was the answer. Here's this 12-year-old and she's super bright. She looks at it and she goes, "Yellow pages, Dad, what is
What is
that?"
yellow page?
She they still make the yellow pages. That's the crazy
They
part is
do.
there's still yellow pages. But yeah, to your point, I don't think people go to want ads anymore. People go to networking events.
Oh
People go
yeah,
to LinkedIn is so powerful now.
yeah.
There's so many different
Well,
ways
even
to
like
find jobs.
it's Indeed, Indeed.
Yeah, Indeed. Yeah, Indeed's good.
I mean, I you can like I was talking to my daughter, sir. And it's like you could put out 100 resumes today.
Yeah, that's right.
And that would have taken you. I had one of those. I'm an old man flashback,
Yeah.
like of having to make a copy of it, print it, type it sometimes, and then make a photocopy because you didn't want to ruin the original.
That's right.
Then you would go to Kinko's and
Print it off.
use their fax machine
Yeah.
because I didn't have a fax machine in my house yet because that required a second line or something like that. And I'm like, and then it would cost you money for every page, and it would go through, and sometimes it wouldn't go through,
Yeah.
and now it's literally like you can hit a button and it goes out to 100 companies.
Yeah. It's amazing. Yeah, and that's where I think that there's still good companies looking for good people. Right. And,
Absolutely,
and that to me is
absolutely.
the thing. And I think if you're having a hard time finding a job, to a certain degree, you've got to have some gumption and get off the couch. And I'm not judging anybody. I've been unemployed before.
Yeah.
And it's tough. It's difficult, but man, there's so many opportunities right now. That's what's amazing. I mean, if some of your listeners they need to make some money, I'll sit down and talk to them, right?
Yeah.
Show them how they can make some money just talking about JIFU on social media. We love to pay people. That's one of our biggest expenses is paying commissions to people.
It's
Uh,
marketing, right? I mean, that's
it's just marketing.
a
Yeah,
marketing expense.
absolutely. So
Do you think companies that don't use social media are at a disadvantage?
absolutely.
I
Yeah.
mean, because there are still companies out there that don't use social media, and I'm like, can be. I mean,
And it's
there's a cost to it, but it
so
can also be
easy.
free too.
Yeah, it's so easy to be on social media. The hard part is getting out of the noise, right?
Yeah,
I've struggled with people who constantly post about politics. I don't know what to do with that information, right?
yeah.
But I love to see people who are creative, who are doing fun things. I post on my social media. You're on it, and you can see that my boy and I, when we go golfing or whatever, we'll put
Just
some fun shots up. And
for my listeners that aren't on his page, it's just about bragging how good his golf swing is, and the actual slow motion flight of a nice hit ball. That's all it is. You don't need to watch now.
Well, yeah, it's just fun, right? And that shot I hit in Japan, man, I was 5 feet away from the pin. I had one of the best rounds of my life that day. I was with 16 of my closest Japanese friends, and I actually won the tournament. So it was kind of I've never won a
Backing up
golf
what I
tournament
just
in my
said, so that's perfect.
life. So, but yeah, it's super fun. And again, I think golf is one of those times where more than anything, you get to be with that person for 4 hours,
Yeah.
right? And
That's a totally different. Yeah.
yep,
And it's interesting because you don't have to be that. It helps to not suck at golf,
it helps to not suck. That's a good way to
but you
say it.
don't have to be great at it
Yeah,
to have a
I,
good time.
I
As long
agree.
as you can hit the ball kind of straight,
Yeah.
not losing every single ball.
Yeah, and the reality is, I love to see these pros when they make mistakes. It makes me feel so good, right?
Oh man.
Because I'll shank a ball so bad, and I'll be like, "What did I just do?" Every time you think you're getting a little bit better, and
Oh yeah.
I think the hardest part about golf is writing down your true score.
Let's see.
You lose a ball, people go, I'll drop another one, right? Well, in Japan, they didn't let any mulligans, I mean, hey, how about a breakfast ball? They're like, no breakfast balls. That's where your tee off shot is your tee off shot. And
Yeah.
you had a bad shot, you had a bad shot. And so yeah, so I think that's the hardest part about golf is we have these expectations that we're so good, but we're not, right? So
See, I for me, I don't have that expectation.
that's good.
My problem is I used to be somewhat good,
Uh-huh.
but I played a lot, and now I don't play a lot. So when I play, it's like
It's like, dang
so
it.
because for a while I carried a 9, and so I was shooting high 70s, low 80s.
That's
You
good.
know, yeah, I had a great time. But now when I go out, and I'll still have some holes like that, where hey, par, hey, birdie,
Yeah.
snowman. It's like,
Yeah. Happens.
yeah. Well, it didn't used to happen, but now it does.
Man, but there's just days like that day when we were on that coast up in Fukui. Man, it was as pretty as I've been to. I've not played. Gosh, I just forgot the name of the course right there on the coast in not near Carmel. What's it called?
Pebble Beach.
Pebble Beach. Thank you. It looks like Pebble Beach. It looks like Pebble Beach, but it wasn't. Right? I mean, it's just
Okay.
so beautiful. It's on the river, or excuse me, it's on the ocean. You're hitting over ocean shots and things like that. I had the game of my life. There were a couple times where it went out of bounds, and I thought, oh my gosh, it's in that grove of trees. I came back and it bounced back into the fairway. So some days it just
That's a good
works.
day.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good day.
That's a member bounce.
Yes,
Exactly.
made me so happy. Yeah,
Do you think that it's because that was a business trip, right? But yet you still
yeah.
have to make time.
Oh yeah.
It's a 4 to 5 hour day, right? I mean, just to go golfing, and then
In Japan, it's
beforehand.
longer.
Is it? Yeah. So
Because they take an hour break in between and get lunch. It's part of your fees, your green fees. You can go take a shower if you want to.
in
Um,
between.
oh, in between, yeah.
Oh my
I
God.
was so it threw me for a loop. When I turned the corner and did the second 9, I was kind of stiff at that point, right?
Yeah.
But they're used to it. That's what they do. It took us a good 5.5, 6 hours to do a round.
Well,
So
that's not even an 18 round here in Southern California on the
oh
weekend.
really?
Oh my God. My local course, I've literally never finished it.
You're kidding.
Oh, I
Is it
just walk
60
off.
long?
I just walk off.
What are they putting everybody every 5 or 6 minutes? Is that what they're doing?
And they're fivesomes.
Oh,
And it's the closest I came. You'll probably appreciate this story. So I used to mess and prank my daughters all the time.
uh-huh.
when they were in high school. My daughter had just blown out her knee, her ACL, playing lacrosse. So it was her junior year. Yeah. So my older daughter's graduating, so they decided to get me back. So I go, hey, I'm taking the day off. I'm going to go golfing. I'm going to finish this course. I've never played 15, 16, 17, 18. Still haven't.
Oh my gosh.
I get to like I don't know. It had to be 10 or 11. And I'm like, okay, I'm playing okay, having fun. My daughter texts me and goes, what are you doing? My oldest daughter, what are you doing? I go, well, I'm golfing. She goes, I got to call you. So she goes, hang on, let me text you. She goes, Allie just hit her knee again, going on an escalator. She's on the way to the hospital. And I'm like, oh, beep, beep, beep. I'm like, all right. So I literally put my clubs in my bag. I start walking towards the parking lot. I'm like, okay, what hospital were you guys going to? How bad was it? Was it bleeding? Was it was just blah, blah, blah. So I'm like doing this with my bag. And the group I was with left and all that. I get to the parking lot. I'm like, hey, so what's going on? What hospital are you at? Harbor? Where? She goes, April Fools. We're just pranking you.
That's messed up.
I'm like, oh. I go,
did you get him back?
I go, you need to, if it's going to be a prank, you got to let me in a little sooner.
Absolutely.
No, I still haven't finished that course.
Well, it's funny. The courses in Utah are so well taken care of. They're so affordable.
Yeah.
My son and I just golfed 18 just the other day. And it took us probably 4 hours, 3.5 hours.
That's awesome.
Yeah. It's just, you can do it quick. And the other advantage we have here is that course is probably at about 5,500 feet. So you just whack a ball and it goes a long ways.
That's why your ball looks so good.
It is. It absolutely is. When people come here from out of state, out of country and golf here, they're like, man, I'm hitting so good.
It's like, what?
Right?
I had one good round in Denver, and I was like,
Denver's also good. Denver has thinner air than Utah does, so you're gonna smack a ball there. That's fun stuff.
I felt like a pro. I was like, wow.
And it keeps going back.
I'm like, that's what it's supposed to look like.
You know what? The best part that has happened because of the downturn is more kids are golfing.
I agree.
I think it's one of those sports. Again, you can go anywhere in the world, right? Anywhere in the world and find great golf courses. It's a great social thing. I love it because I get my kids to myself. My 2 daughters are starting to golf now, and it's my time. I get them, right, and that's the most beautiful part about it. And you're doing things, so you're not sitting on your phone the whole time, and that's what kids need. Kids need experiences. They need to get out. They need to do. But adults do too. I see a lot of friends. I'll post something on social media and I will see the same 3 people like it within seconds. I'm like, what are they doing?
Yeah.
Like, get out, do. Because there's so many amazing things to see in this world.
Well, I'm not going to like your post anymore then.
You're not as quick, but I literally there's 3 or 4 people that I can count on, on both hands how many seconds it is until they like the post, which I appreciate. It makes me feel good and stuff. But
no, because I roller skate with my wife, and which I guess is rare for people in their 50s, right? But because we're out and they're like, oh my god, people are like so surprised. I'm like, well, I'm just exercising.
It's a great exercise.
Meeting people, talking to people, it gives us something to do. So we take our skates with us when we go on. We didn't take them to Hawaii because we were going to so many different islands.
Yeah.
I mean, I take them on my trips, my work trips, but you have to get out, just like golf, right? It's like, got to get out and do something. You can't just sit around. And I would go crazy, but maybe my other laptop would work if I spent more time. If I wasn't roller skating.
No, I love the tools we have, and we were talking about that right before we jumped on and started recording. Is the tools we have to do the things today. Like JIFU wouldn't have been possible, 15, 18 years ago, right?
Absolutely.
And so these efficiencies are creating more and more opportunities. You just can't take it too far, right? We track my wife. I don't, because I'm on my phone all day for work and stuff. But my kids track how much they're using their phone every day, and they make goals not to do anything. In fact, I'll just tell you this: I don't give my kids allowances. They have to earn their own money. So my 2 little girls, actually, when there's concerts in the park, they walk around with a wagon and sell waters and lemonades and things like that. And so that's how they earn their money, right?
Yeah.
Is they don't come to me and say, Dad, I need $20 to do something. I'm like, hey, if you need $20, there's such and such event going on over the park over here, and they'll load it up. We'll drive them over and they'll do it, right? But I told my two little girls, we saw them right towards school getting out, them sitting there watching just junk on YouTube or Netflix or whatever, right? And so I went to them and I say, girls, I'll pay you guys $200 this summer if you don't watch anything on your phones, or they don't even have phones. If you don't pull it up on a computer, you don't come steal the iPad. And they have completely stayed off of social, everything. And I asked him the other day, I said, how's your summer been? There, Dad, it's the best summer ever. Because they're doing things and they have a board sheet. When they're bored, this is what they go to. So they add activities to it. And so they'll go to it and they'll look at different things to do. They're more productive, they're happier, they're more confident. And so that's where technology is this like amazing tool that we have at our disposal. But yet it's also such a crutch, and it creates so much unhappiness, right? Like I don't post my bad shots, right? That's the best way to say it. I post my good shots when I make a putt or when, my son drives it straight down the fairway, but we lose balls too, right? And that's the demon that social media has created, is that everybody thinks that everybody else's life is so perfect.
Well, see, I got accused of that because like I take pretty shots when I'm traveling, right?
Like your camper video shot the other day was just beautiful.
Yeah, right. And I'm like, do you want to see me on the side of the road? I can take. They're not always great, It's like when I'm parked and I'm stuck, I hit a tree, this or that, There's a lot of bad things that happen, but for me, I'm not trying to present the life as a pretty. I'm trying to show what it can be.
Yep, that's right.
Like it's just like your golf shot, right? It's like, what you want to see me shank? Well, everybody sees that.
Yeah.
Let me show you. I don't know.
Yeah, and it's a place for us to brag a little bit, and it's a place to have fun. It's also a place where I get updated on my friends and what they're doing, and that's the good side of it. But man, if I'm scrolling all day looking at crazy reels or whatever, then man, with an hour can go away without you even thinking about it, right? And that's
in a blink.
The hard part. Yeah. And so that's where our girls, it's been such a better summer. They get along better. They play together. One's almost 10, the other one's 12. It's beautiful to see them going and doing. So they'll come to us and they'll say, can we go? And well, sure, let's go to the park. Let's go, wherever, because, I've got my second son heading to college, and man, what I wouldn't do for a couple more years.
Well,
right.
How much do you think of it? Because you just brought up a really good point, I think. How much of it is the parents wanting the kids to get, because I'm locked into what I'm doing.
Yep.
Hey, kid, get locked into your own Zoom, your own TikTok, your own reel, because I want to finish what I'm doing, which might be on my phone too.
Yeah.
So they use the phone as a babysitter.
Absolutely.
And that's on the parent.
It is on the parent. And we see so many. I think that these kids with anxiety, and I'm not diminishing at all, so don't anybody think that, but I see my own kids when they spend tons of time staring at a little square.
Yeah.
I see anxiety. I see lack of self-confidence. I see lack of creativity. Right. And I think that's the downside to it. And so to your exact point, it's so easy to say, sure, go watch a video, right? Go do something. I need
it all the time when I'm traveling.
All the time. Right. And so, in fact, I struggle with that too. I'm a very fast reader. I struggle to pick up books anymore because it's so much easier to turn on a Netflix show or, and there's so many good ones. I mean, that's the crazy part. There's so many great entertainment places that it's hard to get recentered and just do some me time. Right.
Well, that's because I just got into probably about 2 weeks ago into more meditation, just to help me sleep at night. Cause I have so many things going on in my brain.
I have the same problem. It's hard to fall asleep.
Yeah. And so I'm just like, I need to like listen to somebody else zoning out so I can zone out, because I'm like, okay, I got to post this. I got to get that. I got to go on this. I got to do this shit. I got to do that. I got to do that. My to-do list is forever in my brain.
Yeah. I told I can't remember who I was talking to. If I had 72 hours in a day, I still couldn't get everything done.
Yeah.
I mean, and again, that's the other bad side of having a phone. I remember my dad, when he came home from work, when he had big trials.
Yeah.
he came home, right? And we worked out in the yard together. But me, I go out in the yard and I have my phone with me. I get a call from overseas. I stop, I go take it. Right.
Have
There's
to.
no place to just stop and be, right. That's probably the biggest downside. I have good friends that will go down to Lake Powell, go out on a houseboat where there's no signal just to be again, right? Because
Yeah.
it's too easy
Yeah.
to pick up that phone.
Yeah. We go camping and we do that, and it's interesting.
First
Just
couple hours is tough, right?
yeah, yeah. Well, even like for me, like when I go online, I don't get the Wi-Fi package
Uh-huh.
on the phone, so I can watch the movies or whatever,
I'm the same way.
but no emails, no text,
Oh,
no. So
no.
just give me 3 hours. You know,
Yeah.
it doesn't seem
Yeah,
like
and
enough.
that's how I was going in all the way over and all the way back. I just
Yeah.
it's a good time just to, set aside. And planes are so comfortable now, right? I mean, they really are.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what seat you're in, they're comfortable. So,
Well, first class. Come on.
first class is a little nicer, but
Come on.
yeah.
Just a little bit. Well, hey, we have to cut it short because
You bet.
I now have my time limitations.
No, that's good.
Um, what's the best way for people to find out what's going on at JIFU? And
Best thing to do is just go to our website, jifu.com, JIFU.com. Reach out to us on social media. JIFU Life at JIFU Life is both our Instagram and Facebook handle at JIFU Life, JIFU LIFE. Just reach out to us. We'd love to help you take a look at it. We'll share a screen with you so you can see what it looks like. We can't give away the full portal. It all has to be behind a username and password. That's the agreement with the travel databases. But we're happy to give you free trials. I know on your website, Peter, you have, or you can actually post your free. You can give members free trials as well too.
I did not know that. So
yeah,
listeners, go to my website. Don't listen.
Go to Peter's
don't
website.
Listen to Brad.
Yep.
Go to.
We'll help you. We'll help you set up a QR code so people can go on and get a free trial from you. That's great. I mean, you're a great voice, and you travel and do things, and so it's a great testimonial to what we do.
Yeah,
So.
I mean, it's like I said, definitely not paid. And it's awesome. So I'm not giving away any secrets. It's just the good business.
No. We love people to save money. Man, you saving $400 that one night. That's huge. That's massive.
Ridiculous.
So, especially in Kauai. Man, that's crazy. Wonderful.
Well, no, I saved it in on the Big Island.
Oh, the Big Island. That's right. I know exactly what you're talking about. I was thinking Kauai, but no, you're right. That's the Big Island.
And Kauai, at the Royal Sonesta, we saved quite a bit of money too.
Yeah.
It was the only place we didn't really save a lot of money on was Oahu.
Oahu.
Because we stayed right in Waikiki and it was crazy.
Yeah. I've never stayed in Waikiki. I always go to the North Shore.
You're not missing anything.
It's a beautiful city, but
you're missing DJs playing in the pool lobby when you're trying to sleep.
It's like in Vegas.
Yeah, exactly. That's about it. So, hey, thanks again for the time, man. I appreciate it.
Oh, I appreciate it. These are fun conversations. Happy to come back anytime.
It's a blast. So we'll definitely stay in touch. I'm going to keep watching your golf shots.
Thank you.
And I'll just live vicariously through you.
Oh man, I'll do the same with you.
So, all right. Thanks, Brad.
Hey, thank you.